So let me share with you for a few minutes the general avodah of Kinnos, the way it is, at least thinking of it this year. So Spashgacha Pratis, the first word of the Kinnos that the avodah starts with is the word Shavas. The way they translate here, everything came to a standstill. Shavas. Shavas is Shabbos. Why would it be the Hashgacha Pratis that Kinnos begin with the word Shabbos? Things stopping, getting to a standstill. I see the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos in the 5th parak, the Mishnah over there lists all the things that Hashem created, Bein Hashmashas, twilight between Friday and Shabbos, Bein Hashmashas, Erev Shabbos. And the Kamarna in his Pirush and Pirkei Avos, so the Kamarna says that the side of all those things listed over there, that the Rabbanu Shalom made by Bein Hashmashas are things that are not finished, they're incomplete. That's why Hashem put them dafka bein hashmashas to show like there was not enough time to finish the malacha. And the Kamarna goes and explains each one of those things that it's up to us to be mashlim. It's up to us to complete all those things that Hashem started bein hashmashas, erev Shabbos. There's a Kabbalah that goes back to the Emek HaMelech, to early Kadmonim, that Mashiach will come to bein hashmashas erev Shabbos. So one of the things that are mentioned in the Mishnah over there is the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu. The place where Moshe Rabbeinu was buried, the Rebbeinu Shalom created that space, Erev Shabbos Bein Hashmashas, which the Kamarna said means that it's incomplete and we have to be mashlim it. So our avodah by Kinnos is to complete the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Zohar Kadosh says that the word kinna, nei in Kinnos, comes from the word kan. I've mentioned this in previous years. Kan, which means bird's nest, kan tzipor. In the Zohar Kadosh, the chamber of Mashiach is called the kan tzipor, the bird's nest. Moshe Rabbeinu being the first redeemer, who's eventually going to be our last redeemer. So Moshe Rabbeinu means the secret of Mashiach. The resting place of Moshe Rabbeinu is the kan tzipor, is the bird's nest. The word kinna is related to kan tzipor, means the avodah of kinnis is to complete the bird's nest, which is the resting place of Moshe Rabbeinu, the chamber of Mashiach. So that's our avodah. The question is, what does that mean? What's the avodah of the nefesh? So again, I'll explain now. We'll go through the kinnis. Again, relatively quick. We're not going to spend. I'm not going to talk too much, but just to make the hachana right now. So there's when you think of kan tzipor, so there's one mitzvah that should come to mind, and that's shluch hakein, right? Pasuk says, "Ki yikar kan tzipor fnecha," that if you happen to chance upon a bird's nest, so shlech t'shalach haseim, you send away the mother, and then you could take the eggs or the chicks for yourself. Mitzvah shluch hakein. What's the side? So the mitzvah of shluch hakein must contain within it the side of the kan tzipor, which is the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu, which we're fixing and completing by Kinnos. So what's the inyan of shluch hakein? So the Arizal in Eitz Chaim explains the side of shluch hakein the following thing. It's obviously multi-layered, but an aspect of shluch hakein is the following thing. One of the differences between the avodah of Golus versus the avodah of when we had a Beis Hamikdash and when we will have a Beis Hamikdash is the following phenomenon. When a person, Lamashal, daven Shachris. So when you daven Shachris, a person is Zaycha to a certain level of Moichin. That's what you're building. The infrastructure in the Shemayim and your Neshama that you're building by Shachris. It's a Gevaldige Madrega. It's a point of Yichud. It's a Shalom. It's a point of Yichud. Now, with the Beis Hamikdash and with Geula, then whatever you've built by Shachris, for example, remains the rest of the day. And all of your avodah is just building upon the previous. There's nothing that's destroyed, nothing that's taken away. But the phenomenon of goals is not like that. The phenomenon of goals is that there's such a thing that's called sila kamoichin, that a person, by shachris l'mashal, goes to a place of godless, and instead of the godless remaining, they're shrunken to a state of katnus. That's the phenomenon of goals. That's one of the negative side effects of not having a Beis Hamikdash. Taught Arizal, the side of shluch hakein is that in the phenomenon of Golus, where there's Sila Kamoichin, where after godless a person is thrown back into Katnus, that phenomenon is sort of captured by that image, by that picture of the mother bird hovering over the babies, over the eggs or the chicks. The eggs and the chicks represent that Jew that's now a baby, that's now in a state of Katnus. A moment before, he was in a state of godless, but now the phenomenon of Golus means that he's stuck in a lower place, and the mother bird is hovering over the babies, because that's what the babies are. They need that help. Said the Ariya Kaddish, the side of Shluch HaKein is, Shalech T'Shalach Haseim, V'Sabanim Tikach Lach. The side of Shluch HaKein is, send away the mother birds. Shluch HaKein says that even after a person goes into Katnus, there's an ability to rediscover one's godless. That's the side of Shluch HaKein. Therefore, even though right now they're chicks and so on, which therefore they would need the mother bird to be hovering over them and to taking care of them, only adult birds won't need their mother. And they're not adults, they're katanim. Shlech t'shalach haseim. Send away the mother bird. Send away the mother bird. Realize that that godless can be found even after Sila Kamoichin. So what does this mean? How is a taka possible? So, by the Taras Chacham, the Chaim de la Rosa, the way he explains, he's talking about other inyanim also, by Kriyas Yamsuf, other sites, but I mentioned this idea before, and it's so basic, it's so essential to Chassidus and to Avodas Hashem, Befrat B'Eges the Mashiach. There's such a thing as godless, and there's such a thing as katnus. Okay. There's Moichin the godless, and there's golus, which means you're thrown into katnus. Okay, fine. But then there's God himself. And then you begin to realize, oh, 1 second. So let's say I'm in godless, or let's say I'm in katnus. Less asar ponimine, there's no space that's empty of God himself. Which means that even though when I'm in katnus, I don't necessarily feel the experience of the light of God, but God himself is as equally found in katnus as he is in godless. So if I'm interested in really connecting to God himself, then what's a nafkamina? Then there's really no nafkamina. In the language of the Baal Shem Tov said that a person can be in a state of katnus, but still serve Hashem b'dveikus gadol, with great attachment. How so? Katnus means that you don't have moichin. How can you serve Hashem with dveikus? The answer is, God's there also. Really, in terms of etzem, in terms of God Himself, there's no nafkamina, godless katnas. When a person is in a state of katnas, and they're able to remember and to remind themselves that the Rebbeinu Shalom is here too. Even katnus couldn't exist unless God willed it to exist. And if God wills it to exist, God doesn't do things half-baked. Whatever God thinks about and whatever God invests Himself in, He's kuloi there. So if katnus exists, if darkness exists, if smallness exists, then it means that God wills it to exist. And if God wills it to exist, the Rebbeinu Shalom is fully invested. And if the Rebbeinu Shalom is fully invested, then that's tvekus. That's tvekus. This is the side of Shluch HaKein. The side of Shluch HaKein is to realize that at the end of the day, Katnus is also a place where God exists. This is what it means. This is what it means, the resting place of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. The Histalkus of Moshe was in the place that was called Har Nevai, right? The mountain of Nevai. We know that Chazal say that the whole life of Moshe Rabbeinu, he was only Zaycha to Memtes Shar Rabina, the 49 gates of understanding, but the Shar Hanun, the 50th gate, he wasn't Zaycha to, until the moment of his Histalkus. The place that he passed away was the place of Har Nevai. Nevai, the Ramah Pano, other Mekubalim say, Nevai means Nun Bai, that the 50th gate is there. It means the side of the resting place of Moshe. The Kan Sipur is the Shar Hanun, the 50th gate. And what's amazing is that you would think 49 levels of Bina is Mamash Godless. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. That's Moshe Rabbeinu's in his lifetime. And you would imagine, therefore, what's the 50th gate? The 50th is even greater. But you know what the Zohar says about the 50th gate? The Zohar says the 50th gate, you can't tell if it's above or below. You can't tell anymore. It's like Moshe Rabbeinu's place of burial, right? You couldn't tell if it was above, below. People from above thought it was below. People from below thought it's above. What is that? The answer is 49 gates of Bina is Madregas. It's godless, katnus, and the difference between the two. The reality of Golus, which is that there's Sila Kamoichin. The 50th gate of Bina is the realization that Benkach u Benkach, the Rebbeinu Shalom is there. So really, what's the nafkamina? Not much. That's the 50th gate. You can't tell what's above nor what's below. That's the secret of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's our avodah to be mashlim, the tzion, the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu. And when that avodah is revealed within ourselves, then that's the chamber of Mashiach. That's Geula. Because Geula doesn't come to just tzaddikim. And Geula doesn't come just to Rishayim. Geula has to come to both. So how could one person unite all extremes? How could one revelation unite both tzaddikim and Bali Tshuva? Tzaddikim, Rishayim, and Beinim all together? The answer is it's the Shar Nun. It's the 50th gate. Mashiach Tzidkenu is going to be someone through whom it will be revealed the ultimate Shar Nun of the Tzin of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is Benkach u Benkach, the Rebbeinu Shalom is there, so really there's no nafkamina. And this is the avodah of Kinnos. The avodah of Kinnos is to go into that place of katnus, but at the same time to realize that at the end of the day there's a secret of etzem, there's a secret of the Shar Nun, which undermines the very notion of there being a distinction between katnus and godless. And this is the avodah, I believe, again, like I mentioned last time, we need Nevi'im, but as far as I'm thinking, the avodah, at least for us, for my avodah, if you want to be mishtatev, that's fine, but is to say kinnis like that, is to be sensitive, obviously, to the tsar and the pain that the kinnis are describing, but to look for the light, and to look for the elukus behind it, and to give space for Moshe Rabbeinu to emerge out of it, and to turn the kinnis into a tikkun of the Kan Sipur, the tikkun of Moshe Rabbeinu's tzion, and to reveal that truth, and to be mamshech, what happened by Ben Hashmoshes, Erev Shabbos, to be mamshech vayter, and to complete that inyan. And that's what we're going to go through. When we go through the kinnis again, obviously we're not going to go through all of them, but we'll go through the kinnis, and Bez Hashem we'll try to direct ourselves and our attention to the light that's contained in the kinnis. And it might be a little bit strange, but you know what do they say? The sign of craziness is if you do the same thing so many, over and over again, the same results. No. So if you want Tisha B'Av to be different, then we have to do something different.
Otherwise, it's craziness. That's what we're going to try to do. That's what the first word of Kinnos, as they said in Shodom. Which when things stopping, not changing. Godless means change. It means movement. It means not Shodom. Godless means you have godless amaychim, and then you move into katnus. But Shodom says, wherever you have the godless, remain with them. Because there's no nafkamina anyway. That's the secret of Shlita. The Hashem should bless us with our avodah of Kinnos. We should be zeichet to be the generation to experience the re-emergence of Moshe Rabbeinu, but not just of Moshe Rabbeinu of them past Sharadina, Moshe Rabbeinu of non Sharadina. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was sent to a generation that desperately needed him. The generation of Mitzrayim, that we know where were they stuck in? They were stuck in Menefesh Sharitumah. So they needed Moshe Rabbeinu with Menefesh Sharadina to take them out of there. But everyone knows the Archaim HaKadosh, right? The Archaim HaKadosh says that after that, by Ichus the Mashiach, we're going to be in the Sharanun. So from the Sharanun, then we also need Moshe Rabbeinu to take us out, but not the Moshe Rabbeinu of Menefesh, the Moshe Rabbeinu of the Sharanun. And that's our avodah. The way to bring that truth into the world is by being chazik within ourselves, looking at another yid, looking at yourself, and seeing kindness and acknowledging it, but recognizing less as sarponimine, einoi movade, like we just read in the Krias of Torah. Einoi movade. That's the secret of the tikkun, of the Khan secret, the tikkun of Kinnos. The seed of revelation, Einayim, Niklan, Vizkel, Rachim, Meir, Amen.
This? I don't know why, it was charging the whole night. So it's on red. Only charge it for half hours, 3 hours anyway, you know?
But without this, you have no sound?
No, it has sound. It's not perfect.
He tells me, I don't have a watch, you can't see the clock. I'm flying without I said I have 2 timers on the shore. One is at Tishba, we finish at 1 o'clock. And Yom Kippur, we have a break. Yom Kippur, at least we bring the Ilm sings, it's nice.
It's charging slowly.
What's the other side? The other side is charged.
No, this.
What's this?
This is missing. He has it. Doesn't make any sense.
So the next kinna Zion, so the style of the kinna is that it goes to the Aleph base, as you can see. Right? Each line is the Aleph base, Aleph top. And basically it's crying to Hashem about what He did to us through our enemies. That's really, if you think about it, if you look at the translation, you'll see. How did you, Hashem, do certain things through the Romans? And that's all runs through it. What's the tikkun of this? What's the nishmas Moshe inside of this? So it's not a shapella. We're talking about what happened, what the Goyim did. We're talking about the Romans, all the tragedies that the Kinnos talks about. But we're attributing it not to them. We're saying it's the Rebbeinu Shalom. And we're going through all the Aleph Beis in that context. And each stanza that starts with a particular letter, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, and so on, but the first word that line starts with is the word Eicha, which starts with an Aleph. That's the side of the Kinnos. Rebbeinu Shalom made the world with a lot of letters. But there's one letter that represents Him Himself, and that's the Aleph. And the secret of this Kinnos is that no matter what happens to a Jew, even if it happens, if it's an act of God, then it's obviously the act of God. But what happens if something happens to you because of a Baal Bechira? So then, the sophisticated person starts looking at the Farshim, so the Bechira effective, blah, blah, blah. The premise is that everything is inside. Whatever happens to a Jew is from the Rebbeinu Shalom directly, even if it's from a Baal Bechira. Let me share with you just a couple lines from the Commandment. I was thinking about, what exactly, how to go about thinking about Tisha this year. I think the Command is a good way to go. There's no one that his storm expressed such a brokenness and such a broken heart, but mamish b'simcha rabba, like the Command. So he writes like this, it's in the Sidney Sefer. Ki amuna sh'adam amen. When a person believes, she'ein shum etzias bilkei Hashem yisparach, there is no reality but God. Chol davar katan v'gadol, and small and big. Af yisurin she'netzar oisei bal b'chir. Even suffering and difficulty that a person has because of another person who is a Baal Bechira. With all of that, and the Gashmi is, whether it be in Gashmi is, sure there's on your Parnasa side, the guy is causing trouble with your Parnasa, or in Ruchni is, the person is making fun of you and testing you and bringing you into negative things. Kishamam, and when a person believes, Shagam a Baal Bechira, even when it comes to a person that's a Baal Bechira, Sham or Ritzani is part of it. It's the Rebbeinu Shalom himself through the Baal Bechira. And it's the Aleph through the Dai. The Moshe Yotzi Yipiv, and if it wasn't for the Rebbeinu Shalom's decree, Yeshul Shom Niver Shitzara, I said that no person can cause any trouble. Like the Rekadin, like the Regadol, not small and not big. Bikal B'Yahava, then you accept the situation with love, not passively, you still do, but you accept it emotionally with love. Yishtacha, and you bow down, and you thank Hashem for His involvement in your life. Azayin and Takamahina. That sweetens the judgment. Melech Elyon Yisrael, and then the king, the exalted king, will rest upon you directly. The Ne'imos, the Ziv Oiris, for the pleasantness of his life. There's a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov said this from Toldos Yaakov Yosef, the Parshas Vayesar, Shemati Mimonim. I heard from my master who told us that the Aleph, Usayda Rufish Oivu. The Aleph means the master of the universe. That's Hashem, Tomir, Begonis, Begadei, who's hidden and concealed in all things. Ois Beis, what's the Ois Beis that Hashem created the world with? Who Beis Alpha? It's just 2 olives. The Chen Gimel, what's a Gimel? Gimel Alpha, 3 olives. Adais Tov, what's the Tov? Dalet Meis Alpha, 400 olives. That's all the Aleph Beis are. Everything that looks different, this object looks like it was created with the days. This experience with the Gimel, that experience with the Dalet. But it's all just multiple combinations of Aleph. The Tzadikai, Shluta, Matronisa, the Tzadikim, the messengers of the Shina Tosha, Inon, Lakasher, Afman, and Oisias, they invest their effort into going through life with the Aleph days, but always remembering and clarifying and bringing a tikkun to the world by remembering that a Dalet is just 4 olives, and Hey is just 5 olives, and a Tuf is just 400 olives. And that's the kin over here. Every single one of the letters, what we're saying in this kin is that no matter what happens to us, it's God Himself. And that's expressed by going to the Aleph phase, but having the Aleph of Eicha at the beginning. And that's the tikkun. When we say this kin and we sing a niggin afterwards, we're going to sack in the city that we should be to be counted amongst the tzaddikim and representatives of the Shina Tosha, to be mamtik all dinim, from ourselves and from the whole world, because why not? Why can't it be us? By recognizing that everything that happens in this world, being the Rekadin, being the Regadol, is from Aluf Shlita, it's from the Aleph, and that's all really that ever exists is the Aleph. We have to experience that by 9 nickel and Yussie So next kinna ches, so if you look at the translation, sort of the theme of the kinna is the Yid saying that if only I could go to Shemayim, that's when I'd really be able to cry, to mourn, and to feel the Hesed upon it. Which is not Shafel. I had to go to Shemayim. That's what it says in there, right? Ada put Shemayim, I should go to the place of Shemayim. And Eli to Shemayim, but I make everyone cry. I cry with Malachim, I cry with the heavens and the cells, the oiliness, with the Shina Kaisha, then I cry. So Hesed Panim is what you feel in Shemayim, and what do you feel down here? What you feel down here is what Nachman calls Hesed Shabbatay Hesed. Right? Hesed Shabbatay. So one thing in Shemayim, that's when the neshama is sensitive enough to feel the fact that it's Hesed Panim. But we're not in Shemayim. That's the whole Kinnos saying. Oh yeah, I should be in Shemayim. But we're not in Shemayim. Where are we? We're on Earth. And Earth is a place of such concealment that the very fact that we're concealed is concealed from them. Hesed Shabbatay Hesed. We don't have the sight of Hesed Shabbatay Hesed, or Mamish, the sight of the Shara Nun. Let me share with you a couple lines from Nachman. This is in the Chutmaran. Nun Vav. Over there, Nachman talks about the sight of Hesed Shabbatay Hesed, and he says the following thing: everything is created, like we said in the previous thing, everything is created from the Aleph days. The words of Torah is what sustains all things. And when you see on the Laila, Chukle, Shmai, Bar, Seisanti, Saka, Baraisa, Baralma, the world is created from Torah. So Nachman says like this: so what type of Torah creates Shemayim? Shemayim is a place where everything is revealed. Even the fact, the nature of Galus is revealed in Shemayim. There's a recognition of Galus, there's a sensitivity to it. Shemayim means a revealed sphere, a revealed place. What type of Torah creates that? Niglas, the revealed part of it. So what creates Earth? What creates Hester Shabbatay Hester? What type of Torah creates that? That's Sisri Torah. So Nachman says in this Torah Vav that if a person is in Earth, because we can't fulfill what it says in the Kin of Adat Shemai. Even he says that you can't do it. Alavai. By living in planet Earth and recognizing the fact that we're Hester Shabbatay Hester, and recognizing, like I said in the Shara Nun, that even the Hester Shabbatay Hester also must be sustained by God. Then you get to the real side, which is that you know what type of level of Elokus is sustaining Hester Shabbatay Hester? A deeper level than what was sustaining heaven. Sisri Torah itself. Nachman says like this: the Torah that's contained within Hester Shabbatay Hester, the Torah Gevaydik is the highest and the greatest of all Torah. And the Sisri Torah, the secrets of Torah. Since the Rebbeinu Shalom has to have a Torah to sustain the lowest and darkest of places, so the Rebbeinu Shalom came up with this unbelievable plan. It's not going to use Nigla and Halacha, the simple dimension of Torah, to sustain the darkest of places. That's too simple. The Klipas are going to be, that's what they're going to be expecting. The Havcham, the Gadol Ma'ayim, will cause it even more difficult. Al-Kain's, what does Hashem do? The Master, Mal-Bisham Torah B'vayilai. He puts there the deepest of Torah, Sisra Torah. Torah Hashem Ba'atzma, the Torah of God Himself. Al-Kain. Daika Mihastar Shabbatay Hastar. Therefore, the Jew that finds themselves in Hester Shabbatay Hester, which is the secret of the Kever of Moshe Rabbeinu, when a person strengthens himself to have the awareness that Davka there, the Rebbeinu Shalom is found, and nothing can exist without him, and nothing exists outside the Torah. And Nasa Daika Torah Hashem Mamash. And over there you'll find the deepest secrets, deepest revelations of Torah. From that place of Hester Shabbatay Hester. So you read the Kinnos, how the Bible should be in heaven. But in the back of our minds there's a tune that says, well, you know what, maybe it's not a good word now. Maybe it's not a good word now. Because now that we're down here, we can have a Shaykhis Tarizal, the Shaykhis Rishim Ba'ichoi, the Baal Shem Tov, the Nolidayim, Sisri Karamam, the Rebbeinu Shalom himself. The Rebbeinu Shalom himself is more profoundly found in Hester Shabbatay Hester than in Gan Eden Atach and Gan Eden Eliyim. Atznius K'yochel Shara Nun is not here. He's like that through us surviving Hester Shabbatay Hester, we should be zeichet to be the generation, to be the one that's given the deepest secrets of the Torah, Mamash, the deepest secrets of the Torah. The deepest secret of all is Nishmas Yisrael. That's the thing you see with him. She was to experience that in 9 Nigman, this was a Rach, and Ada, Koshin.
Ay, So we're going to go to Kinna 11. Ve'kainin Yirmiyahu al Yoshio. So this Kinna is Yirmiyahu Hanavi crying over the death of Yoshio the king. One of the last great holy tzaddikim from the kings of the Jewish people. Mourning the loss of a king. This is unique. This is not mourning just the loss of a tzaddik. There's other kinnos about that. But this is mourning the loss of a king. What's a king? The king is not just a tzaddik. A king is not just a leader. The Rambam says in Hilchos Melachim that al pi din, the Rambam paskins like this, that a king is the heart of the Jewish people. And the Rambam says that's where the king has to be personally very meticulous in his avodas Hashem to make sure that his heart doesn't become swayed by anything else or distracted by anything, because the Rambam says, this is the Rambam. The Rambam says that the way the heart of the king goes, that's how the heart of the people go. The king is the heart of the Jewish people. So the tzaddik, Yoshio, being the king of the Jewish people, being a tzaddik, that meant a lot for Klal Yisrael. And Yirmiyahu was mourning over the loss of the Jewish king. And the truth is, really since Yoshio's death, the inyan of Malchus, the inyan of there being a Jewish king, with that quality of being, not just representing is being the embodiment of the lave of Klal Yisrael, and being the heart and mind of the Jewish people, being able to feel the thoughts, and to feel the hearts, and to feel the minds, to experience Klal Yisrael through him and within him, that was something that was not very felt until relatively recently. So like I started from the beginning, our avodah by the Kinnos, I think, is to be mamtik dinim a little bit, and to maybe give a nechama to Yirmiyahu, because Yirmiyahu is still crying over the death of Yoshio. So you have to comfort Yirmiyahu, that it's not true, we don't have a king in the way halachically and so on. We don't have that. But a couple hundred years ago, there was a neshama that came to the world to reintroduce the Jewish people to what it means to be a melech, and the meaning of a melech. And that was a Baal Shem Tov. A Rebbe is a melech. That's what a Rebbe is. What's a Rebbe? A Rebbe is not a Rosh Hashiva. A Rebbe is not a Magid Shir. He could be that also. But the job description, what's the job of a Rebbe? What is a Rebbe? A Rebbe is a melech. A Rebbe is the lave of the Jewish people. And that's the difference. That's what a Rebbe means. The Baal Shem Tov came to the world in order to bring the world that much closer to Mashiach, which is the revelation of Malchus based David, and they knew that there should be a Jew. And this Jew is the heart of his Chassidim. And on a larger scale, if he's a big enough neshama, the heart of the entire generation. And very, very big, the heart of many generations. Such an inyan wasn't since Yoshio, wasn't since Churban Bayis Rishon, really. Baal Shem Tov came to bring that back. And ever since the Baal Shem Tov, we have Rebbes, Baruch Hashem. I'll tell you something interesting. I just heard this. I just heard it or saw it. I can't remember where. Anyway, I don't remember the year. And afterwards, I'm going to get emails from some Lubavitcher friends correcting me on this. So they're meticulous. So there was one year where I'm not even going to try to attempt to say the year because I'm going to get it wrong. Whatever the year was, the Rebbe was having a Farbrengen and Soloveitchik, who they knew each other going back to Berlin. So Soloveitchik came to the Farbrengen. It was like a big deal. So after the next day or a couple days later, whatever it is, so some of the Talmidim from Soloveitchik asked him, they were talking to him, whatever, and they asked him, like, what was the experience like, like, what were his thoughts? So Soloveitchik, in his way, he said, it came to me the following thought when I was by the Farbrengen. He said that, it says in Pasuk, when Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the luchas, the second luchas, it says, Ki kar nar pnei Moshe, that his face was shining, and they had to put a mitzvah, right? They put like a mask over his face and so on, a veil. So, fact thereof, why only by the second luchas? The first luchas is even greater. The first luchas. So why did it not have karnar pnei Moshe? Why is that not necessary by the first, only the second? So he said like this. He said that by the first luchas, what was Moshe Rabbeinu Isaac in preparing for the first luchas? He was learning Torah. He was becoming Rosh Hashiva. That's what he says. He's becoming Rosh Hashiva. So fine, that's gevaldik. But what was Moshe Rabbeinu Isaac in order to get the second luchas? He wasn't Isaac in his own avodah. He was Isaac in fixing Yidden. That's what he was Isaac in. That's a Rebbe. And by a Rebbe, that's Gikar Nar Pnei Moshe. Then his face shines. So he said about the Lubavitcher, he said, I remember the Rebbe from Berlin and so on, and he was on the level of a Rosh Hashiva. But last night, you know what I saw? I saw a Rebbe. I saw Kikar and Arpnei Moshe, you know? It's a deacon like that, you know, that their entire mitzias is nothing but Klal Yisrael, to sacrifice themselves. You know, they say, I'm going to get in trouble with this. I know that there's going to be some people okay, whatever. So the mice is like this. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm really not. I'm just pointing out this. They say that when the Berditchever was nifter, so before he was a stalkus, he promised that he's not going to go into Gan Eden, right, until Mashiach comes. So after his stalkus, so Mashiach didn't come. So they figure, okay, maybe Shiva, Shloishim, Mashiach didn't come. So what happened? So the Kabbalah is that the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted the Berditchever in Gan Eden, but the Berditchever was refusing to go. So what the Berditchever did was, what the Rebbeinu Shalom did is that he opened up the gates of Gan Eden that the Berditchever should hear the Yesh Me'Rabbah of Gan Eden. And once he heard the Yesh Me'Rabbah of Gan Eden, he couldn't hold himself back, he jumped in. So the Rebbe once said this over by Farbrengen. And then he smiled and he said, but maybe there's an Eitzah. Maybe there's an Eitzah to avoid that. He said, maybe the Eitzah is, if a person takes a neder al das rabbim, if a person takes a vow al das rabbim, that he's not going to go into Gan Eden until Mashiach comes, then there's no way to be matter that neder. There's nothing that you can do. Al pi halacha, there's nothing you can do to be matter neder al das rabbim. So he smiled, maybe there's an Eitzah. That's what he said. Who knows? They're tzaddikim that their entire existence is nothing but thinking about Knesset Yisrael. I give an example of Lubavitcher Rebbe, the tzaddikim before him, tzaddikim after him, tzaddikim right now, that all they think about is Knesset Yisrael. That's a Rebbe. So we have to comfort Yirmiyahu Hanavi by saying, Yeshua HaMelech is not here, but the Baal Shem Tov came to the world to reintroduce us to Malchus. And through our Munas Chachamim, Munas Tzaddikim, and Eskashras, Tzaddikim Emes, we're to see the revelation, the return of the real deal, real Malchus, of Malchus Beis David. V'yizkol tzedvrachim b'meher v'yameinu. V'yikayin Yirmiyahu Yussie. Eicha Eli Kainu Me'ela V'yishma Yishana Eicha L'Injosh Me'layah V'neicha Ma'aram Chonu Allah L'Yizgul L'Yizgul M'Fala V'gam Chol Mal Yidosh V'gam L'Igdar L'Gam Kavoyim V'yizah Vigdar David B'ychei L'Idoni Adar V'gam Archadelas L'Zdar Oichle L'Rzichar Gizmer Doi V'yichal Ma'imishchar V'yidalav V'yin V'yizim Min Achar V'yidalav Yadai Min Achar D'Akom Harav G'nam Das Lakim V'yitzem Rasai V'ara Shala Yakim Chazak Dora Ginyan Zerachaykim G'vetzem Oizei Das Rechukim Toivim Royim Nigru V'shalchim Allah Ma'ali V'lach Hayayim L'Salach D'yamor Ezamim B'mallah D'yanish V'yis B'nei V'lah Gila Moinai Lechez Aram Naroyim L'malei Zaver Cherev Kol Shav Ephroyim V'yishem L'chayzel Lo Shav Achirayim G'zer Nigzer L'zasech Mitzrayim Mitzrayim Yiradas Ziras Mitzuzayis Mazoyin Anzoysi Yechelu L'chazayis No Anomim L'chumay Lachzayis V'yizem Bonav Ezavtu Azayis Z'roidu Adlai Shiyah V'yimanazur V'adizoyin Shiyah Negar Gorev Loyal Z'lai Ridiyah V'yoram Oyred L'melch Yoshiyah Eidenu Oitzveina V'gev Yoinai Chatzim Chait Archa Chait Mayr V'loi Chatzim Sadu Samu G'mador L'chitzim Yizrugu Bois L'ishmeis Chitzim Kalemitu Achra V'zayin V'yitzeviyu V'anrizoi Nefesh Ma'asur Ifiyu Roz Vazav Yivzaviviyu Zadur Adoinai Kiberisi Fiyu Sisi Noi Gigi Neizam V'shalom Shoynim Avoin V'tzam Tam Getzem Atoi V'azur V'asham V'koyin Elov Kalecha Yuam Tam V'migrechot Goiz V'gidoi Lishdoi Z'dvoyish Nasa Shlita G'go Akel Yasoi Zol Bez Mishnayim Aroi Shosois Yisov to Lo Yecha Ves Mishnayim Oisyois Oisyos Ginois L'votem V'choyli Is G'sharti V'choyli Z'amoizi G'lan Yili Rashati V'nesati V'nutasholi So we're going to go to 16, Kinnos 16. So this Kinna is describing, it's more difficult ones. It's describing the matzav of when the Rasha came into the second Beis Hamikdash. And really what it's trying to capture is the emptying out of Kedusha. That's really what it's trying to express, that the same place that a moment before was saturated with Elokus and divinity, and now is emptied out, ad k'dei kach, that Rishayim can go and whatever. The pnimius of this inyan, and what tells us about what our avodah is that this gets to the very kishkes of Tisha B'Av, and the very kishkes of Metzias itself. And again, it's not the time for learning now, but in terms of Derech Avodah, you all know what the Arizal says, what's recorded in the beginning of Eitz Chaim. The Arizal says that before creation, what was there? It was Or Ein Sof, the infinite light of God. And then in order for creation to take place, the Rebbeinu Shalom was mitzamsim, kivyochel, the Rebbeinu Shalom constricted the infinite light to create a chalal upon it, to create an empty space. And now within that empty space, you have mitzias. Good mitzias, negative mitzias, it's all within that chalal upon it. This kinna is mourning over the reality of the chalal upon it, the empty space. What was until now saturated and full of divine light has now emptied out, and it's a shell of what it once was. But the truth is, Rav Nachman in the Kutim Ran also, in Samach Daled, Rav Nachman over there explains that this tragedy, this mitzias of the Chalal Apana, the empty space, it creates a little bit.
It could create issues with a person's emunah, because there are questions that a person has in faith and in life that are not necessarily because of a negative experience, but just the reality of life itself. The reality of there being this empty space already means that there's things that we don't understand. And because the Rebbeinu Shalom, the light of Hashem, the infinite light of Hashem is not here, but yet the Rebbeinu Shalom is guiding our lives, so automatically there's this disconnect, and there's questions of faith that a person might have. Nachman says, though, that the great secret of Yiddishkeit and the secret of Moshe Rabbeinu is to believe that even after the constriction, even after the Simpson, even after the Rebbeinu Shalom would seem to have removed his life, but it can't be. It's a okay. Less us our point.
The Rebbeinu Shalom is everywhere, and even the empty space itself is also a godly experience. Katnus is also the Rebbeinu Shalom. And it's an amazing thing, Rav Nachman says over there, that every piece of wisdom has a niggin to it. There's a niggin to it. And there's also a niggin to this truth. There's a niggin that for this truth, that the Rebbeinu Shalom exists even in the empty space of Atzmius. That essence, that niggin that answers all the kashas, that doesn't allow any kashas to exist, that reveals that God is as here now as he always was before creation. That niggin is the response to this kinna. And he says that niggin is the niggin of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's Mamash Moshe Rabbeinu. Share with you a couple lines that he says like this. The niggin of the tzaddik, that's Moshe Rabbeinu. Shumalas and Hashamis, menapikarsis hazois, shalachalal aponoi. That's able to he's able to uplift neshamis from the doubts and the questions that plague them, because of the very reality of this empty space. Every chachma has its own niggin. And faith, this level of faith also has its own niggin. The problem is, Nachman doesn't say what the niggin is, so we don't know. But it's just thinking it right now. Usually we have the niggin after the kinna. Maybe we could do it now. I'm not going to put you on the spot to think of the niggin. That's the. But I was thinking like this. There is. Huh?
Without words.
Oh, for sure, it's without words. That's for sure. It's definitely without words. There's the famous Ma'aseh of the Baal Tanya, right? There's the Ma'aseh of the Baal Tanya, that he once, he was traveling, whatever, and it was by a Misnagish stronghold, Shklov, other place, and the Chacham over there had a whole list of kashas for the Baal Tanya. The Baal Tanya said that he has his Misar from his Rebbes is that before you sit down to learn, you have to sing a niggin. And he sang the Dal Bavis, and when he sang the Dal Bavis, and they said, "No, what's your kashas?" The kashas went away. There's no kashas anymore. So that we know that niggin taka has a koyach to be misal kashas. Now, I don't know, in Chabad the Masaris, I don't know, you don't sing Dal Bavis all the time, but we're only the Bavis for the perks. So nice, you get away with it. So sing the Dal Bavis, and Bez Hashem, you misalik all the kashas. Maybe that's the niggin of Moshe. Maybe that's the niggin of Emunah. Help us out. It's in a few from now. 26 is Rachel. So Kinnos 17 is we're up to now. So Kinnos 17 is talking about the crazy phenomenon of cruelty somehow being found within Knesset Yisrael. That's really what it's about. The nature of a Yid is to be soft and gentle, especially a Jewish mother for sure. Be soft and gentle. So this is talking about the phenomenon of there being the opposite of the qualities of Nishmas Yisrael somehow being found by Yidden. What's pshat? The answer is it's not from the Yidden. It's a foreign element that somehow creeps its way into Nishmas Yisrael. It's a Goyisha Indian cruelty. And so this kin is talking about this strange phenomenon of the nature of the nations of the world somehow finding their way within the experience of Nishmas Yisrael. What's the site of that? What's the tikkun of that? So the truth is a big site. what's the inyan of Galus? Why are we in Galus? The reason why we're in Galus is to redeem and to uplift sparks, right? Yitzutze Kedusha. What does that mean? So it means a lot of things, but one way to say it is that every nation has a certain spark that's at its core, that's giving it life. Everything is sustained because of God, through God, and that spark is a piece of divinity. It's a spark of God's presence. And that's the core of that nation. And that spark, as it's enlivening that nation, it has a certain personality. Every spark has a certain personality. And as it enlivens a particular nation, that nation takes on that personality, but in a corrupted, unhealthy way. And the job of the Jewish people, so we're like transparent. The Shekhinah Hakadosh is like colorless. Like whatever you want us to be, Rabbanu Shalom. So when we go to a nation, we take on the personality of that nation, which means that we are engaging in that nitzutz, that spark. But as it makes its way through the digestive system, so to speak, of Nishmas Yisrael, that spark becomes purified. And the negativity, the negative aspects of it, which comes from its years of being enmeshed within the Goyim, the negativity is expunged. And what remains behind is that quality of that spark, but now in its proper home, which is within Nishmas Yisrael, used in a healthy, productive way. And the result of that is that the nation losing its spark of Kedusha, losing its ability to function, and therefore hating the Jewish people for it, because intuitively they know that we're the ones that took away their spark. And therefore they hate us, they kick us out, and they're left to rot, they're left with nothing. Until the next nation comes, where the Hashgacha Pratis, that spark is time for its tikkun to begin. So that nation invites us in, and we become part of the culture, we take on the personality of that people, and at the same time, while we're doing that, we're unending their society, we're redeeming that spark, and the process repeats itself. Ad hayom. So the avoid of this kinna is to recognize that that's what's happening right now. We're all Americans, right? So that means that we've been here for some time, not too long, but long enough, and we've taken on the quality, the essence, the personality type of America, and our avoid is to redeem that spark. And when that happens, when that digestion becomes intense, then the society around us begins to pick up on that subconsciously, and they begin to lose their way, they begin to lose their direction, they begin to lose the sense of that spark within themselves, and they begin to blame the Jewish people for that. And they're right to a certain degree. That is the process. That is the process. But they could get on board and be shluchim and be shluchim for the Jewish people and be part of our experience. That's up to them. But al kaponim, that's what's happening right now. So a person has to be misbainin. You really have to contemplate and to think, what's the spark of America? What's that spark? What's that spark? And when you can identify what that spark is, then you incorporate that in your avodas Hashem, and then you speed up the redemptive process. All the while connecting yourself to Moshe Rabbeinu, connecting yourself and davening very, very much that Gula should come barachim, because in the process of Gula, you're sort of pulling out the rug from the society around you, and when that crumbles, you don't want, you want it to be in a way that doesn't fall on you. So it always has to be barachim. You always have to daven for both things. So what's the nikud of America? I mean, I don't know, I'm as American as you guys, so you guys can figure it out also, or try to. To me, the nikud of America is silly, unwarranted, even childish optimism and hope. That's what America is in its core. And I think our avoid is, and America is beginning to lose that nakuda. That's because the Jewish people are taking it on. The whole avoid of the reemergence in a very, very strong way of Torah Baal Shem Tov before Mashiach comes, and Dafka within American Jews, like people like us. And there's a certain optimism, a certain simcha, a certain hopefulness that's unwarranted even, and maybe even unrealistic. But Afal Pekin, that's what we want, right? From sea to shining sea, like everything. Because why not? That's that nakuda. When we incorporate that into Avodas Hashem, that hope, that not just yearning for redemption, but expecting it, but mamish expecting it with hope, and despite the fact that we know in ourselves we don't deserve it, but who cares? So why not? When they came to America, they didn't think that they deserved all the riches that came with America, the golden Medina. Okay, that's what happens. So you expect it also. So when we say this kinna, we have to dive into Rabbanan Shalom that we should be able to digest that spark in a healthy way, in a way that's mechazek our avodah and brings the gula b'mehera very, very quickly, but in a way of rachamim. Imtachal noshim piriyam, or like now we're going to go to Kinnon 19. Kinnon 19, I'm realizing now, it's really a hemshech of what we just went through. The previous Kinnon talking about the inyan of the personality of the nations of the world creeping their way into Nishmas Yisrael, and the tragedy of that, but as we explained in Pnimi is the tikkun of that. So now comes Kinnon 19 and shows, so Taka, what is the nature of Nishmas Yisrael in its purest form? So when, so Yidden in Spain, then they're Spanish. They have the personality of Spain. In France, the personality of France. V'chulu, v'chulu. But what's a Yiddish personality just in its own right? That's Kinnon 19. Kinnon 19 is talking about all the tsaras and everything we've been talking about, but L'maisa, the Yidden say, Rabbanu Shalom, you're right, and we're wrong, and we have to be better. That's the nature of Nishmas Yisrael, that Tzayin Kodshin, to be the sheep of the Jewish people. That's a Yid. Yidden are the holiest thing in the world, because everything that's negative about Yidden is just a klipa. That's mamash all it is, and the essence and the nature of a Yid is nothing but to express l'cha Hashem atzdaka v'lo nebayis upon him. That's exactly what this kin is. So by saying this kin of Hashem, we should be zeicha that purity of Nishmas Yisrael should manifest, and we should be able to digest all the nitzutz kedusha very, very quickly and happily and healthfully. L'cha Adonai atzdaka. Oy, so Zajer, Lisa Mel Barata, one of us upon him, and China shed its after. Oy, so Nutiafta. Chod and Anzog of the Goy, the Kerl Goy, Lakachas, and Masa, is one of us upon him, and Goy, Kashin, and Sabano, and say Masa. Chod and Anzog of both Rulim, live days long, one of us upon him. Yam, Yam, Goy, Yam, Gosham. Chod and Anzog of the Cher, Atamida, Ibani, Layim, one of us upon him, the Kerfeinu, and the Goy, Bisin. Say Lono Elohim, Chod and Anzog of the Tam Shem, Tamtonu, Kitzavichis, Vidrash. One of us upon him, Goy, Mikravnu, Lono, Soila, Hashem, and Vidrash. Chod and Anzog of the Gilgul, one of them, Amuronon, one of us upon him, Lochamak, Loike, Allah, Visainu, Golayim, Rachman. Chod and Anzog of the Rolechas, Anadovar. Was upon him, the answer Slav, and the answer is Zav, and the Duvar. Chod and Anzog of the Zikroy, who will not the Vice Karan. One of us upon him, Bachan, Hashem, all the Karen, and Tzayman. Chod and Anzog of the Father Shabbat, Barbos Mishin. One of us upon him, it's Anicha, Giboy, and Ach, and Vaishin. One of us upon him, the Shilai, who not the Giboy, and Vaisin. One of us upon him, the Rashas, and the one of us, Shabbat, Manu, and Echlachim. Chod and Anzog of the Shnei Churbanai, Shecharvo, B'Yitzeinu, and Achna Kayomim. One of us upon him, V'Shebeinu, V'Lechu, V'Lei, V'Rosh, V'Leinu, Rachamim. Chod and Anzog of the Shrami, Shana, Shoysa, Zinekdusha, M'Neshama. All of us upon him, is a Vish Chamudais, Adei Layos Necho Shema. Kavai Levaveinu. Ay, ay, ay. So we're up to Kinnos 21. Alright, so this Kinnos is about the Sarugim Malchus, about the suffering of tzaddikim. That's what it's about, the Sarugim Malchus. And the sacrifice that tzaddikim have for us, Sarugim Malchus. So, there's something I want to say. I'm not sure how to say it, and I'm afraid to say it. It's very important that we only say words that are more rachamim, and not chas v'shalom the opposite. I have to be concerned about that, just like every Yid has to be concerned about that. Every single one of us, our words are heard in Shemaim. It makes a difference. So what I'm going to say is not, it's in order to be more rachamim. Let's put it this way. Contained in every tzaddik. The Jewish people have a way of intuitively knowing who the tzaddikim are. The Hashgacha Pratis works it out, people in a certain position. So, the greatest suffering, the greatest tzaddik of all time was Moshe Rabbeinu. And the greatest suffering of all for Moshe Rabbeinu is to be a kvad pet and kvad loshen, of not being able to express himself clearly. Like I mentioned last night, L'sachsim shar v'dishai. So, there's a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu within all the tzaddikim, and there's a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu within every Yid. So to a certain degree, if we give a voice to what Moshe Rabbeinu really wants to say, and really wants to do, then maybe that'll give a comfort to Moshe, contained within all the tzaddikim, and then the muzzle, the Arishtatvus to take the muzzle off, as Hashem, because that's the Ikr Tsar. The first tzaddik that's recorded in Chumash is who? Is Noach, right? Noach is tzaddik. What was his tsar? So the root of all tsaris of tzaddikim is in the tsar of Noach being trapped in a teva, right? That's not being able to, and teva means a word, right? Not being able to express himself. Kvad pet and kvad loshen. So I'm only going to speak Burmese right now. I don't want to say more than that. So if you chab what I'm talking about, good. If you don't chab, it's also fine. Whatever it is. I was meeting with a Chashva Yid, and he wasn't saying it in a negative way. He was mamish asking like sincerely. He listens to the shiurim on the online, and he said like he's noticed, and he asked was like with the cheshbon that I don't really speak too much about like the matziv in Eretz Yisrael and the war and what's going on just with Yidden over there and the whole thing. So I said it's with a cheshbon. I don't, But I said, but the truth is, like you have to be around Shabbos really to chap the larger avodah. And even then, I'm not sure if I ever really explain myself properly. But so I want to share with you something right now. And my point is, for those that understand, to take this avodah on yourself, and then and the rest of the world is the Rebbeinu Shalom's responsibility. We're responsible for ourselves. There's a sugi in Torah, one of the mitzvahs that's called Par Helm Davar Shel Tzibur. Par Helm Davar Shel Tzibur is when the Sanhedrin make a mistake. When the Sanhedrin make a mistake and they paskin incorrectly, and something which is really usher, to the point of where you chayiv kares. The Sanhedrin make a mistake and they say it's mutter. They make a very serious mistake. So there's a certain carbon that they have to bring. It's called Par Helm Davar Shel Tzibur. So the Kamarna in his Sefer Oitzer Chaim talks about the inyan of tzaddikim making mistakes in that mitzvah, and the sight of it. Deep down, it's all Karatz and Hashem anyway. You have to be a little ishbitzer to be mamtik that. But there's a sugya Par Helm Davar Shel Tzibur. So in that context, the Kamarna talks about what tzaddikim's reaction should be when they have hisnagdus to them, when there's a feeling of opposition to a category of Jews that are within the camp of tzaddikim. What's the response, the pnimius, to hisnagdus? So the Kamarna says like this. He says there's two types of hisnagdus. One hisnagdus is so severe, where the hisnagdus is to chas v'shalom try to kill the tzaddik, or to claim that he's not a tzaddik, to really try. The hisnagdus is to undermine the very existence, so to speak, of the tzaddik, saying that it's all a lie, it's not true, he's not a tzaddik, things like that, or chas v'shalom even redifus, like with Mesiris, with Bekuch Nefesh. So the Kamarna says when it's that type of hisnagdus, then the avoid of the tzaddik, then there's like a serious klipa in that hisnagdus, and the tzaddik has to avoid those people, and disconnect from those people as much as possible, because there's something very, very evil and very wrong with that. But that's not the matziv right now. It's not the matziv. The Kamarna says there's another possibility, and he says as follows. These are the words of the tzaddik. It's not my words. Someone should tell everyone about it, though. So this is what the Kamarna says. The Kamarna says like this. Im hasarim v'amamrim, if the hisnagdus is ena mekatrigim, they're not being mekatrig against the tzaddik as a tzaddik. El al shefa shel tzaddik. Rather, the hisnagdus is that the tzaddik has too much, is taking too much. Albanav, too much children, Raif Kinyanov, too much money, and the tzaddik is a parasite for the society, is taking too much money, too much power, not being mishtatef enough in contributing to the v'chulu v'chulu. Umakatrugim al shemisnaig barchava u'begadlus, and the kitrug is against the harchava of the tzaddik. V'chulu. So he says, and he puts in parentheses, sometimes it's not true that a tzaddik needs a lot of money in order to be poil his inyanim. But anyway, when it's that type of hisnagdus, what's the avodah? So he says, al titchaisam. Then you don't push those people away. Because that could be for one of two explanations. Whenever there's that type of kitrug, this is the response that the tzaddikim have to have, and this is the Moshe Rabbeinu response. The pnimius of that kitrug, of that hisnagdus, is for one of two things. Either al eze chet shechata tzaddik, either the tzaddik is guilty of some chet, v'lochin mekanin, v'roitzim lachtaif shefai, and the hisnagdus is sensitive to that deficiency in the tzaddik's avodah, and that's where the hisnagdus is coming from. Oy machmas, or shat tzaddik ein a koil asatzma im kol Yisrael, lahamshich lehem shefa v'rotzein lahashav libam v'daitam u'michyasim l'makayrim. Or the other possibility is that the tzaddik is not connecting himself enough to the rest of Klal Yisrael to bring them shefa, bracha, v'atzlacha, and to enliven them and to bring them to their source of life, which is the Rabbanu Shloim, and therefore lachin mekatrigim. That's why they're being mekatrig, and they're accusing the tzaddik of not doing his job of being mekariv them to avim shabashamayim. Umachmas dvarim elu techela chesarin bach, and therefore, whenever this happens, Don't point the finger at the hisnagdus. Point the finger at yourself and understand it's one of two things. Either some chait that only you and God know about, or because you're not doing enough effort to bring shefa and be makarev, those people that are around you, and because of that, they're taking it personally and they're being misnagid against you. This is the response of Moshe Rabbeinu to all hisnagdus. When this is not being expressed, and it's not being said, and it's not being and it's not being addressed, then this causes Moshe Rabbeinu pain. Because the ikr pain of Moshe Rabbeinu, Chazal say an interesting thing about Moshe Rabbeinu. Chazal say about Moshe Rabbeinu, Oyev Yisrael Hoya. Of course he's Oyev Yisrael. Chazal go out of their way to say such a thing. Oyev Yisrael Hoya. Us as Yidden, who have sparks of Moshe Rabbeinu inside of us, we have to give expression to this, and by not pointing fingers to anyone else. That's the point. Not to point fingers at anyone else, but to understand that our avodah is to see every single Yid as the rightful owner of Elokus, the rightful owner of Yiddishkeit, Merosha Kilas Yaakov. And as I mentioned many times from the Medrash, famous Maisa that a certain Amoritz was by Yanai and he was acting like a Talmid Chacham, and Yanai caught him being a faker. And so this Amoritz said to Yanai, he said, L'maisa, I might be a faker, but there's one pasuk I remember from Cheder, Torah Tzivu Lanu Moshe, Meirosha Kihilas Yaakov. And he said, Kihilas Yanai Ein Ksivkan. Doesn't say the Torah was given to Yanai. The Torah was given to Yaakov. And if I don't know, said the Amoritz, it's because you held back my inheritance from me. So don't have tainas on me, have tainas on yourself. And the ikr root is me having tainas on you. And so that's a Moshe Rabbeinu response. That's the ikr, I'm telling you right now, the ikr tsar of Moshe Rabbeinu in this generation is the inability for inyanim like this to be expressed helpfully, because that's the ikr expression of Moshe Rabbeinu is that bittul, that anivos, and always the question of Moshe Rabbeinu is, what do I need to do right now? Not why is this happening to me? The word me doesn't exist by Moshe. The question is, what is my avodah right now? And his snagdos to the shefa that tzaddikim or those that are in their chotzer are having is just a cry on behalf of the Jewish people, asking for Torah Tzivu Lanu Moshe Merosha Kilas Yaakov. And by us in our personal avodah, trying to do that as much as we can, to look at Yidden in a positive way, and to realize that any kitrig is really not a kitrig. It's just Yidden asking for help. That's all it is, and that's mamtik those dinim, because we don't want in Shemayim there to be any residue and any reminder and any level of opposition to Torah, the Chulu, all these inyanim. It's all shaka b'chazav. It's all just Yidden asking for elikus. That's all it is. The whole thing is dimyonis. So Hashem should bless us that we should be the ones to be paiser the chalaim l'toiv, to interpret the dream properly, and we know the Kamarna taught us. We know what's going on in the world, and when you realize this, then it's all toiv. It's just Yidden. It's just Yidden connecting with each other. It's just Yidden connecting with each other. That's all it is. There's no such thing as sinas chinam. There's no such thing as any real kitrig. It's just it's Rebbeim and Talmidim, and just brothers. That's really all it is. And that gives a nechama to Moshe, that gives a nechama to the tzaddikim. So you say the kinna, and Bez Hashem, to mishtatif in the tsar of tzaddikim, and the ikr tsar of Moshe Rabbeinu, to misbal to Hashem, that the truth, the emes lamitai, the truth of Moshe Rabbeinu should be manifest with poil, and Yidden should take up that banner, that mantle of teaching the world Torah Tzivu Lanu Moshe, Merosha Kilas Yaakov, to see the emergence of a clear voice of Moshe Rabbeinu via Skol Tzad Barachim. Arzel Vanai. Adresin v'mishnu v'gemara. V'rakaychem levitora, dom nishvach v'nosh tzagura. Chinam gedoshim v'rogemal v'zazara, v'alei lani v'chiyah v'eini nigra. Zois v'zachri ezak v'mara, chem naziz v'aglei ha'koidesh, nezer v'atorah. Torah levi gedoshim v'yisu, v'yizach amura, yad l'gora, v'yishar in l'cher v'rura. K'nabon goyro, v'ravishim v'ashaz v'arai, v'ocha k'nig v'gzeira. Shen Chazar, Largai, Never Schlitzerum, Zara, Kral, Vagosh, Livgoy, Zoven, Agavira. Not a Raja, Yunason, Ayalar, Kiloisa, Minaira Toira. So, Amena Valena, Bival Bibi, Abigura, on of Omar, Bamis Gari, Matoira, Bizar, Nicholas, all of Isa, Mishuna, Kambura. Sivalam, Raja, Nizar, Skira, Giaboira, Yamul, Nabje, Shivim, and Aboira. Roja Boyre Zigia, the going to and with a Goro, talk of his dance oil on Beres is Boyra. Now, Barry the Ravi Akiba, Gara Lechana, the Sora, the Zorga, the Master of Barzel Nara. Yazin is Mosey back from Moscow, Raja Ravikiva, Doctor, Hominator. Over Vidachra, if you wish to leave us, there are been Jimson of the Rura. The Javitine, Zaina Gilose, the Lachdo Lamara. Nothing even Dragon Agra, Magil, Gila, is in Shora. You should be direct, is it Darima, the Givu of the Temples of Myra. Ezra in Zizuan, Garahu, is ever Doiras, Wugim, Zotzerini, Khaliba, Ishlayavas Meira, Khosar of Yeshua, Mazoifer, Golama Moira, Ragulish, the Gula Kalofim, Loyuk from the Kura, Yatabaz Galoj, Niaglu, and there's much the Shamra, Malrim, Roses, Yevro. I evaporate Israel, Bevel, Givam Kura, Southern Closement, Jumbo, Magrina, Nerag, Matkira. Yerajavas, Manigita, Shika, the Jayagra, there's a love, like the Gamra. Yatinish Mazai, the Varli, Yaitzer, Return to Rock, Aino Reina, Izubanayamba, Lana is Nagara. Skills right there with Rene, you call the Sharon, yet there's a Yairo, Sabizura. Kadia Nuvo, Jaka Druma, Dobraye, Langriva. Idivadoina, Luzavoy, the Azra. Ahmed Bergayim Goshla, Israel Yagoy, which is the Sana. Said they give like Melech, Yoloshali, Evlay, Moira, Isa, Nele. Let's go to Kinnos 26. Yeah, Kinnos 26. So this is Yirmiyahu Novi going to Kivrei Ovis, to Mars Machpelah, and awakening them to daven for Klal Yisrael, Rachel Imeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is also there. What's Moshe Rabbeinu doing when Yirmiyahu goes to Mars Machpelah? What's Moshe? So we went through this on a few Sundays ago. According to Chazal, Moshe Rabbeinu, after he was buried in Har Nevoah, he made his way to Kever Rachel, to Mars Machpelah over there. So Moshe is buried there, Bemis, already in Eretz Yisrael. So one thing to think about is like this, there's a famous Maisa. I said this before. So I'm not going to repeat the whole Maisa, but the Kitzer Nimbers, there was a Yid, right? That by Chayzev Ublin, there was a minig that if you can show that you were mishpacha, he would give you extra money if you're poor. So Kitzer Nimbers, a Yid made a whole cheshbon, a whole convoluted way how he was a karev to the Chayzev, and he goes in and the Chayzev gives him the money that he needs, and then he says, Reb, mishpacha. He says, oh, okay, no, fine. So how? So he gives the whole Megillah. And the Chayz says, Vaiter Krev, distant relatives. It's not close enough. So the Yid is dejected. So Tal Rapshitzer sees this, and he tells the Yid in Eitzi, he says, the Rebbe is going to go to Mincha now. He davens to the Yomid. And when the Rebbe says, V'zoicher chaz the avos, so you scream out the top of your lungs, distant relatives. That's what you do. So that's what he did. So he pushes up there, V'zoicher chaz the avos, Vaiter Krev, distant relatives. So the Chayz is shaken up by that. So he goes to the Yid and gives him all the money that he has. That's the Maisa. So I heard a follow-up to that story. Maybe this Nakud is mamish the craziest part of the whole Maisa, that somehow someone had the opportunity to say this story over to the Brisker Rav. I don't know how it happened, but the Brisker Rav was told this Maisa from the Chayz. So the Brisker Rav, in his way, responded to the story. He said, it's a cute story, but the Chayz was wrong. He said, there's two dinim. When it comes to cousins, uncles, this way, sort of horizontal, there's such a thing as distant relatives. But v'zoicher chazdi avos, that's not cousins. That's great-great-great-grandfather, that's straight up. Even if there's such a thing that's called Vaiter Krovim to the side, there's definitely no such thing as Vaiter Krovim up. An Av, Avi, Ben is called an Av. And that's the side of this kinna right now. Don't just read it like once upon a time, Yirmiyahu and Avi went to Mars Machpelah to daven, there was an Eis Tzara. Right now, the Baal Shem Tov said where a person's mind is where you are. Don't be in Lawrence right now. Go to Mars Machpelah. Yirmiyahu and Avi, the Arizal said, is a Gilgal of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is a spark of every single Jew. He's a spark of Yirmiyahu inside of us. We have to go to Mars Machpelah right now and daven to Kivrei Ovis, to Rachel Imeinu, to Moshe Rabbeinu, Shvipol Yeshuas. Vaiter Krovim. Even the Brisker Rav is maskim that's not Vaiter Krovim. So l'chol hadayis, whether you're by the Chassidim or the Misnagdim, l'chol hadayis, that line up is definitely not Vaiter Krovim. And they need us. Rav Nachman has a Torah, he says that once a person, when a tzaddik is nostalgic from the world, their greatest desire is to have his kashrus with those remaining behind. Because once they go to Olam Emes, they realize how amazing it is to do mitzvahs and how amazing it is to live as a Jew. We're doing them a taiva by thinking of them. Simple pshat is like you go to the Kivrei Ovis and you're asking them for help, like they have to be matriach themselves. It's not a tircha. They want to have a shaykhis to the Yidden of this generation. They want that because the only Yidden that are able to put on tzitzis, and the only Yidden that are able to light Shabbos candles, the only Yidden that are able to do mitzvahs is us. Every other generation is no longer here. So we're the only generation able to do it. So the greatest, when they have like by Yom Noraim, brother, by Yontif, you have like bidding, who gets an aliyah, So in Shemayim, that's what they're fighting over is who has the schus to help the Jewish people right now. That's what they're fighting over because that's the greatest schus of all, to have his kashrus to the generation that's alive in this physical world. So we're doing them a favor by going to Kivrei Ovis. You have to daven and ask them to be Paul Yeshuas because certainly they will. Certainly they will. Oz Ba'alech Yirmiyahu, Kivrei
Anyway, now I have to. I'll be one of your listeners.
Huh?
Huh? I'll be one of your listeners. Oh, yeah.
What the song's like?
So to Kinnos 31. So God, He always lead us.
So, just a little instruction for the song. It's a stanza talking about B'tzeisim and Mitzrayim, B'tzeisim and Yerushalayim. So when we're singing, as Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we sing it with the simcha and this happiness that Hashem took us out. But then the second line, talking about Hashem, when we were leaving Yerushalayim, that we sing it with a softer, somber tone. And we go back and forth. And I was in Eretz Yisrael this past year for Sukkot, and after what happened on October 7th, and the mamash, the Tzeisim Yerushalayim that I had and that we all experienced as a Jewish nation was the darkest, saddest moment that I've ever felt in my life and I've ever experienced. And in Mir Hashem, we'll be going back and forth. When we get to the end of the Kinna, we're going to sing it out loud in Mir Hashem in our days of Sasa V'Simcha and As Yagan V'Anacha V'Shuvi L'Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Eishtu Kadeh
Kirvim haloisai avivi B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Kinim oira le'anas gira B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Azos Shir Moshe Shir Lo Yinashe B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Koinai Nirmiyah V'Noiliyah B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Be'esi Eskoinon V'Shachan V'Hana B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Hamas al-Shachna Olai Kana B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Galei Amramu L'Chachai Malakamu B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Zidayim Shalafu Yaroi Shitafu B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Dilegan Shamayim V'Mitozu Mayim B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Ana Umroibim Umayim Amarim B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Ayashkem V'Hareis V'Ivos HaChoyre B'tzeisim Mitzrayim B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Marekoin Adonai K'shachal Stefanai B'tzeisim Mitzrayim B'cherem L'tusha U'nebak L'tusha B'tzeisim Yerushalayim B'tzebach U'mincha V'sheben Ha'dishcha B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Segula Selucha Kitzai L'tircha B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Chagim V'Shavosai Zumoisim V'yoisai B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Tanis V'Evel Urdai V'Evel B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Toivu Halim Li'arba Tigalim B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Yolei Yishmelim U'machmas Hareivim B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Yoivel Shlita V'Eretz Shakeita B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Machor Nasnisos V'Choros V'Chosos B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Gavoras V'Aron V'Abeis V'Karon B'tzeisim Mitzrayim Yavnei Akala Uchlei Avala B'tzeisim Yerushalayim Yes, now, coming from there, we'll go to Kinnos 36. It's not really a Kinnos, it's more just, I don't know how to call it. Tzionot Teshali, this is Rabbi Yehuda Levi, talking about Eretz Yisrael, talking about Yerushalayim, and his longing to come to Yerushalayim, the beauty of the land, how the air of Yerushalayim, the air of Eretz Yisrael is oxygen for the neshama, and Chutz La'aretz is poison. Just everything, all Eretz Yisrael dik, you know. The longing of Rabbi Yehuda Levi was to be to Eretz Yisrael, come to Yerushalayim, Yer Kodesh. And it's interesting, in our people's history, by the Rishonim especially, for sure, he's the one that represents that poetry of the heart, that longing for Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Yehuda Levi. He's called Rabbi Yehuda Levi. It's interesting, that's how Hilchas Shemitah v'Yovel, the halachas, the entire Sefer Zeroim of the Rambam, which is talking about Eretz Yisrael, the final halacha and the final line of the final halacha is talking about how David HaMelech from Shevet Yehuda was an honorary member of Shevet Levi. That Shevet Levi doesn't have a chelik in the land because they're dedicated to spreading Emunah to Klal Yisrael. That's really the touch of the Rambam over there. So, and he says that because of that, they're somewhat disconnected from settling in Eretz Yisrael. But there's such a thing that any Jew can take upon himself that objective, that mission of Shevet Levi. And then this amazing yichud takes place where you actually are within the land and at the same time experiencing a life that's otherworldly. And the Rambam says the example of such a person was David HaMelech. That's the last line in Sefer Zeroim, is that the shleimus of Eretz Yisrael is expressed when Yehuda and Levi come together. When there's settling in the land, like Malchus of Yehuda, but with understanding that the land is something that's altogether different, that's Shevet Levi. And that's why maybe that's why Bashkachar Pratis, it's Rabbi Yehuda HaLevi, who's the one that sings the songs of Eretz Yisrael that gives us that little taste of that otherworldliness, you know. And if there's any one spot, like I mentioned last night, that sort of captures that beauty but otherworldly beauty, is the Kaisel Maravi. The Kaisel is like a haunting place, you know. It's a place that there's a certain sadness there, but there's a certain menucha there also. That's our avodah. Our avodah is to create that space even here, of a kaisel, of something that's tangible but intangible at the same time. You know, that's why it's even interesting. Maybe I probably shouldn't say this either, but whatever. The word kaisel, this I can say. The word kaisel is comprised of two parts, chavav and taf lamed, right? That's kaisel. Taf lamed, 430, that's Elokim, the name Elokim, times 5. Elokim always means Midas Hadin, it means that which is tangible, that which is concrete. 5 also corresponds to the 5 end letters, like, which puts a finality to something, it puts a concreteness to something. So it's the name Elokim 5 times, and then that's Tal, that's Taf Lamed, and then Chavav 26, that's Yud Kevavke, that's an otherworldliness. That's what the Kaisel is. I mean, that's our Chiyav, that's our obligation in Chutzlar. It's in order to pave the way for Gulas, to create that space within ourselves of something that's very tangible, familiar, practical, down to earth, grounded, but otherworldly at the same time. That's the Kaisel. That's Befrat there, that's what we're trying to do here also, Rav Shemar told me once, he said, yes, what is it? What's the place that you live, what's it called? So I said, the 5 towns. He said, yeah, the 5 towns. He said, the 5 towns is the 5 times the name of Elokim. Elokim is Teva, nature, Gashmias, V'chulu. But you have to have a Mavakshei Hashem in the middle of the 5 towns, looking for the name Yud Kevavke in the middle of the 5 towns. And that's Mamtek the Dinim, so that's the Kaisel. That's the 5 times Elokim, and Yud Kevavke, that's the Kaisel. So it's Rizaycha to be a place that the Shechina K'dosha resides by the Kaisel Maravi. The Shechanti B'Seicham, the Shechina wants to reside in Yidden. And the place for the Shechina is Yidden that are able to recreate the Kaisel. And the way to recreate the Kaisel is by being down to earth, normal, happy, healthy, good, but with a twinkle in the eye that there's something else going on. That's a Kaisel. That's the Kaisel. So by really saying and singing this kin of Tzinoy Tishali of Rabbi Levi, we should be Zechataka to be Ishish Yuladba, that to be part of Eretz Yisrael, to be subsumed in Eretz Yisrael, and to be part of that experience of creating Eretz Yisrael in all things, of bringing the Kaisel to all places. She was like to experience that. Tzinoy Tishali. Shalom Asirayeh. Urshli Shleimeh, Chem Yesaderayeh, Yom Israel, Yom Zeiman, Shal Rach V'Karoi, Ziv V'Kol HaVarayeh, Shleim Anzit Ikva, Neizim Demor, G'dal Chermoy, V'Nichzal Riddam, Al HaRayeh, Liv Guys and Usei, Chanisanim, Veizach Lo Yishiva Shusei, Chanichinar L'Shirayeh, Ani Gira L'Shirayeh, we be the Beisel of Neyel Moyameh, U'machanayim V'chol Nigei Tayrayeh, Shama Shchina Shchun Allah, V'yoin Zeim Lozach Mamo, Zarei Zachak Sharayeh, V'oin Adinai Levad, Ayam Moyrech, V'yitzar V'shemesh, V'girovim Moyrayeh, V'evchar L'nashri L'shtapach, V'koyim Ashuach Elim Shfucha V'chirayeh, Ad Beis Melucha, Ad Kisei Kvayrel, V'ech Yoshu Avodim, Alik Kisois Gvirayeh, Nitneini V'shaydet, V'koyim Asher Sheniglo Elim L'chizayeh V'tzirayeh, Yazlik Nefayim V'archik Nedoi, Agi V'Bisrin L'Vodim, V'ein V'Sarayeh, Ane L'Mishri L'Vovi, V'im B'Sarayeh, Ebolabi Elai Artzei, V'ertz V'naich L'Loi, B'choinin Esafarayeh, Av Givon Yela L'Kivrei Avoisai, V'eshtoimim Alei Chevroin, V'char Givorayeh, Aravorim Oror, Aror Shnei Oyer Gedoylem, Yarayech U'Meirayech, Chai Neshamoi, Savir Artzei, we mother of God's love, brave, and Ivan's of Norayeh, Yinam, L'Navshni, Oloi, Charoin, V'yochef, Alei Charovai Shemama, Sheroyad V'irayeh, V'koy Maroinei, Asher Nignas, V'koy Kruvayeh, Asher Shachnu Chedrei Chadarayeh, V'koy Yashlich V'Nezer, V'koy Zimon, Chilel Boretz Movel is Nizirayeh, Rechel Yochol V'Shoso is Veisachazeh, Yizra B'Klov Mitzgifirayeh, Oyech Moryoim, Yimesoich Le'enai, V'Yider V'Yorvim, V'Yigrei V'Sarayeh, Koyisak Yoinamat, Arfimat, Kikvar Molu, G'Salai V'Navshi Mimarayeh, Ezgar Allah, Eshtech Amoreich, Vezgar Liva, Bemze Shemerayich, Sioik Lilas Yoifi, Ava Lechein Ari Levoi, Loch Nikshu, Naushtais Chavirayich, Himas Mech L'Shavosei, Vakoyevim Al Shemoisei, Chavoichim Al Shemerayich, Imar Shvishoyevim Negei, Uznachim Shmegoyma, Yalei Noichach Shemerayich, Edare Amoyne Hashagol is Basra Marligim of Lojoch Gidirayech, Marziga Vishulayech, was answered Lalois. Lechais Bazan Sinai Timarayech. Shinar Vasra is Yargucha Vigadlam, and Arloidam Lusumai Hurayech, Amidam Mishichayech, Aminaviayech, Amiliviayech Vishirayech. Shan of Yachlev Kolil Kamalachais Olilem, Chosnech Loilam Doradon Izirayech, Evil Moshe Lehoyech. Ashrei Enosh Yivchar V'Yikra V'Yishkanu Chatzirayech Ashrei Mechak V'Yagia V'Yira Lo Yisrairech V'Yivoku Olav Shecharayech L'Rois B'Toivas B'Chirayech L'Alois B'Simchasech V'Shuvei Chelei Kadmos Narayech While we continue this song, you want to try something? Try something? Why not? It's Tisha B'Av, might as well. Can't hurt. We've all been to Eretz Masama, we've all been to Eretz visit the Kaisel. It's like while we're singing this song, like imagine yourselves. You know, it's like you walk to the steps, the feel of the banister, you know, the metal, the slipperiness of the steps, you know. You walk down, you see Stama, she's still there, right? This lady collecting or whatever, offering the red, you know, everything about the place, you know, the smell of like stale, what's it called, falafel, you know, there's just, then when you go down, eventually you get to the place of where, right? You could see it from the distance, you know. Then you go down, you have to go through the security, but your mind is not on this, you know, you're ready. You go there.
now to Kinnos 41, the last of the old Kinnos. Mostly the Holocaust and Shali's replaced. This is an article they have all read this about it. It's the burning of wagons of Talmud and Harav, very shiny.
On a more broad scale, this is a kinna that's crying over that the inability of a yid to keep Torah mitzvahs properly in Gullus. That's really what it's mourning over. Why the Rebbeinu Shem would do that? Why would he put a yid, or Chas v'Shalom, a whole kehillah of yid in such an environment, whether it be because of the Goyim, whether it be just because of historical phenomena, that they're raised with a certain ignorance, but Nishmas Yisrael being placed in a space, in an environment, that they can't keep Torah mitzvahs properly. The burning of the Talmud was this Indian of not allowing the Jewish people to have access to learning properly. So this is a terrible, terrible tragedy of Yid not being able to. Our lifeblood is Torah mitzvahs. That's what we're here for. And deeper than that, that's the tikkun. That's the tachlis of creation. The tikkun takes place through Torah mitzvahs. So it would seem that when the Rebbeinu Shalom Kiviyachol holds Yidden back from keeping Torah mitzvahs, the yoidim or below yoidim, it's counterproductive. So as the whole time we have to bring a little bit of nechama while we're going through the kinna. So let me share with you just very, very quickly, just a couple lines from a letter that we have from the Ramchal. This is an Igros Ramchal Igeres Yud Gimel. The Ramchal was asked this question, Taka, by another big Makubal. He was asked, what's this phenomenon? There was a certain area that there was a Shas Hashmad. There was a decree from the government not allowing them to keep Torah mitzvahs. So this question was asked to the Ramchal, why would the Rebbeinu Shem do such a thing? So he says like this. He says it's a big question. Since we know that everything the Rebbeinu Shem does is to do good to us, so how could we even imagine to ourselves that it's good when we're not able to learn? Like in places where the Inquisition, he's talking about, forbade the printing of the Gemara, not the Inquisition, the censorship to stop Gemaras from being printed, all these types of inyan. So he says like this: when neshamas are in galus tachas haklipis, so shtayim hini hadrachim tinsen alehem lasakin es ashar shakol. There's two paths of tikkun, and the Rebbeinu Shalom sort of puts the right neshama at the right time, what form of tikkun they have to be osik in. But there's two types of tikkunim. Oy asher yisgabru b'koicham ba'or hamagil lehem v'yushav mesaklipis. Either they take the light that they have from Torah mitzvahs and aggressively, openly break the klipa, umir l'rabim, and it's illumination for the public. That's the normal approach. That's when you're able to keep Torah mitzvahs. Oh, but there's another malach. Shemitachas the klipas atzman, and within the belly of the beast, from within the klipa, ka'adam mezuyin ha'im beten ari, like an armed person in the belly of the lion, and he's not able to keep Torah mitzvahs. So on the outside, because the klipa swallowed him up. But what's he thinking? He's chalishing for Torah mitzvahs. He wants Torah. He wants to be a yid. He just can't. He might not even consciously be aware of this, but deep down his neshama is chalishing for that, and that's causing a tikkun v'kareis from b'fnim, and he's destroying the klipa from within. Kain mein hatikunim milagav, and this is he says these tikkunim that are from the inside, yirbu oyroiv tikkunim ad hazman ashirim by azivaka kashach ha'arich. There's a tremendous amount of tikkun that takes place in that particular way. There's a very big secret and a fundamental introduction for those that are truly interested in knowing the ways of Hashem. Ramchal talks about this in other places also. Talmidim talk about the meaning of Lolein, even Yidden being intermarried in this context. It's not for now. But the ikar is to be menachem ourselves and to menachem Klal Yisrael, that every single Yid, no matter what the matzav is being isik in tikkunim. Sometimes the tikkun is obvious on the outside. Sometimes it's less than obvious, but it's always tikkunim. There's no such thing as a moment or an experience that's not part of that process of tikkunim, whether it's breaking the klip on the outside, or whether it's partnering with a yid who's breaking the klipa from within, through his ignorance, through his cheshek, to become a yid deep, deep down. It's all tikkunim. So we read this kinna, and we mourn over the fact that we can't, that not always are we able to keep the mitzvahs the way we want to, we should remember that mourning itself, the kin itself, the inability to do that is itself a tikkun just from within. And when those yidden that are on the inside and those yidden on the outside finally meet each other, that's the end of the klipa. We should be able to experience that. Beinayim niglim. Shal Yisruf Shalom G'layeh. Chumazab Mishavayim. Chatzis V'layeh. Shoyvim Avared. V'gaychavim Mashtayimim. Alim Leger Lilayeh. Malchum Roshechem Beinayga. V'gayim Lar Yoyma. Aji Zerchalayim Alayeh. V'gayim Enash Zenach. V'gaychem B'lev Nishvar. Tan V'koynein. Ale Tzirich Avalayeh. V'yisoynin Ketzanim. V'chnes Yana. Iger mitzvah ma b'glayeh, heichen v'suna v'shoichla, tukal v'shbosar v'nechlu zarim b'glayeh, v'chalayeh. Aron adina d'leichla v'mashkei, v'nei baruchei alay gizu v'glayeh. Teishiv rishkan v'rivgav v'lishbay v'nei yel v'chol ha'mishpatem, v'savi v'glayeh. Oy tigdar lizarda, z'shuchukim v'lofei nashi, shisham v'lofei v'glayeh. Zuri v'lafin v'eish v'l'vorzeh nosnech ki v'achir yisech t'lai deish v'shulayech Sinai al-kein v'chol v'achir li'im v'las v'gdaylim v'zach v'gulayech L'yesem v'ay v'slados ki yismai t'zmai v'ter v'choyda v'einem shal v'shalayech Moshel v'al asher b'achol mishlev v'noi tzav v'ashigva kein ad v'milayech Tachas mil tiska Sinai l'vushech v'sak Tatel Shalmanos, Tachlev, Simalayeh, Oyer the Mois, Adiu Kanachal, Ekil Girois, Shnei Rei Atzilayeh, Moishavar Baron, Bashal, Yishar Chadosh, B'chein Yisrael V'hilayeh, Chodesh Lishi, Vukshar, V'hilash, Niskim Dose, V'chol Yoifig V'hilayeh, God Alaluchais, V'china V'hivalto, Yisrael V'ishtos, Azat Ashlan K'hilayeh, Esmal and Avshech, Yerluchiki Alcho, Achre Roisi, Asherasu Shilayeh, Adler Revival Kinidachas, Zerfu Shalal Elyoy, Ajidim Azavoy Kilayech, Leidum Zayder Sluach, Yoyo Aveloy, Nisim Yoisher Zilayech, Yonagmi Midvash, Nizayech, Mashke Devois, the Ragli, Yayas Komu Kilayech, Yerav Leina, Shoy, Maybe the Moy, Adi Choluchom Achzik, Vichnaf Nilayech. Al yechruv b'ritam la'lechyo, yavar kinechu rachmei, lindar b'alayeh. Log after kaspoy, alach b'derech merachlayk, v'imoy, aloy nosin tzulayeh, v'ani gashod v'galmo, nishardi b'vadayem, kisarim reish harmin g'layeh, v'yashmoy v'kol shar v'sharoy, salei kinitku, chevlei sufech lilayeh. El bashu eskas b'sa, kili moy yakru, atzmuk v'chol yirbuyo, navjes lilayeh. As a might on Morayoy, Ashi Israel Kol, Avo Yachshech Alay, Velayech, Sagi the Kol Marlitzon, El Sheroinech Malchelyech, Ul Yizgar Vizgulayech, Hikri the Vushak, Ali Bahavara, Ashi Yosef Chalik, Vizosas Tulayech, Kein Uzech, Yirachem Echzu, or Yoshish Bushev, the Yishon, Yermish Vilayech. Oy sadi badi shani v'zoy gidikhi telchi v'mocho v'sali v'mechalayech yor magavi v'yisurech lori loch v'yignye l'choshchech v'yayiro afilayech.
Should I attempt originally?
Which one is that? Whatever. Why not? You have a mic? We'll lead us. good. Okay, so we're going to end off now with the Kinnos about the Holocaust. We'll say both. As I say every year, what happened over there was not this. The seichel can't be grasped. The tsar, it's impossible. It's tzaddikim that were, it was known by the tzaddikim that Europe was not going to be the ultimate destination. We're going to have to get out of there. Not just by, I don't mean just by the Bali Ruach HaKodesh and things like, or obvious Bali Ruach HaKodesh. Reb Shimon Shkop, Rosh Yeshiva Shara Torah, he spent some time in America. First he was fundraising for the yeshiva, but then he was invited to stay here to be Rosh Yeshiva here. And he really wanted to. He wanted to stay. And the Gedolim in Europe, they forced him to come back. But he wrote letters to his Talmidim that were in America already, asking them when he was thinking about staying here and becoming Rosh Yeshiva here. So he asked them maybe to be mechazik and to come. And he said in his letter, he wrote this and he sent it out. He said, I think his lashon was, Europe is already ausgespielt. It's ausgespielt. It's already played out. Europe is already played out. This was in the 20s. He said Europe is already played out. He said the future is going to be in America. That's the future. The transition from Europe to America, that they didn't see. That no one saw. That's what happened. But l'maisa, everything's b'hashgacha pratis, which means that we have to realize that it's not the pshat that we, like Hashem has names, lists of Yidden that had to go through that tsar. And we were not on that list. We could have been on that list. But Hashem didn't. He took our names off that list. And that's a responsibility for us to give kalim for all the iris that are just floating. Because we just sang the Rishner. We're not Rishner Chassidim. I guess we are. We also sing Chabad Nigunim. We're not Lubavitchers. I guess we are. I just mentioned Reb Shimon. I guess we're Talmidim from Reb Shimon. There's a certain, like in Europe, there was like a certain misgaras, But because we're not, it's not like that. It's all just iris, just floating around. So we can make you can make a kli for all these things. You can be miskasha to all these inyanim. And we have to live with a sense of responsibility and achrayus to not just to rebuild what was, but to give kalim for all the iris that are still floating over there. It's a very, 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 very big avodah. Because we were selected to be the ones not in that generation, to be the ones in our generation now trying to recapture that. And that's what America is. America is, the other. When they discovered America, it became clear that the world is not flat. And the Chacham always knew that, but it became clear to everyone that the world is around. That inyan of the world being round, which is brought out by America, is the inyan of Ein Sof. If there's any geometrical shape that's bechinas infinite, is a circle, because you keep on going. A straight line means beginning, middle, and end. But ironically, if you keep on walking in the world, it's a circle. And that became clear to them. What became clear with the discovery of America is that straight lines are betzim circles. And so our avodah is also to be circle dik. That means bechinas ein sof. It means not to limit ourselves with any particular misgaras. You don't have to. You could be everything. That's what America is about. That's the side of the circular quality of reality that's brought out with America. I say the Kedoshim should be Muitzi Yosha for us. We should be Zochad not to have to do this again. I don't think any of us really expected. They say, what was it? The Maggid's son was named. He was known as the Malach. So, as his nickname indicates, he was a big tzaddik. So the Malach, his minhag on Tisha B'av was the whole Tisha B'av he'd be like, sitting on the floor crying. And then every once in a while, he'd pick his head up, he'd say, is he here yet? He's not here yet. So we sort of felt that way over the past bunch of years. There's been different tekufas where at different moments where collectively there's been a feeling of like, is he here yet? He's not here yet. There's a feeling in the air like that. It's always good. It's good to hold on to that. It's also important to find the Rebbeinu Shalom in the Katnas, in the Galus. But the tzaddikim, all the tzaddikim from all different chugim, all different experiences, all the tzaddikim, all the ketashim, they have to work on our behalf extra hard to make sure that we can pick our heads up before the end of the day and not just ask is he here yet, but be able to experience it. We should only see nechamis and Yeshuas, I believe, die. Zichrona, v'kainu kol Yisrael, kol chim yisham v'rama, yishmi l'gaman, yizameinu meizam ha'mulchama. Boy, my table is for living guys. You've always lived over say, Ragnis Leadon, Askaroisam, Daisim, Lishkoya, where every I can do some, through my station is Bayar, me, Melzar, Yisrael, Shaddai, the Nicholas Reves. Serious Aver, Commander Reserve, Mosik, Nicholas, Alchaim Rachim, Ados Menachem, Ashlachom, Bain Service. Or Chadash Tasriya, Karni, Hoy Nazmiya, Ruchli, Himmer Chefes. Shebernutash Yash Mastoin Adabareho Yal Biyaz Mechavor Feyel Bezoich Migdash Adabareho Alei Galos Vishavor Seyel Mani Meishir Zimabareho Yadamo Masher Shufag Yemai Mei Avabai Reho Alei Hegyain Vichavai Leho Asher Domam Yavabareho Yavad Asher Shomei Ubito Sanedreyo Alei Zivchei Zimideho Fid Yoinei Vichavai Reho Yalchilu Kelei Eicholu Mizbach Tavavai Reho Alei Dahavei Milavavacheho Nei Davei Yirmireho Yal Yofyam Asher Choshai Yisaru B'Yisrael Reho Alei Kavod Asher Kavod Yisrael Reho Yal Lovei Asher Lochat Yitzom Sakim Chagureho Alei Machat V'Roi Makois Asher Hukun Yizireho Yal Nifuz Alei Selah Oi Leveho Oreho Alei Simchas Avoi Veho Sochakos Shirareho Yal Yinoi B'nei Choyrei Yiveho Zehoi Reho Alei Kreshna Asher Yitzvah Zoterech Ashureho Yal Zehoi Zehoi Shizufeho Shechovoi Reho Alei Koilos Orfeho Yeis Rabu Begoreho Yal Rikshas Begadfeho B'Soich Mishkan Chatzeireho Alei Shimcha Asher Chulal B'Fi Komei Mitzireho Yal Tachan Yitzal Chulal K'Shai Dushma Amoreho Alei Tzion V'Yoreho K'Boi Isha Tzireho V'Chiv Zola Hagurasa Al Niyoboreho Asher Yesh V'Secho Oy Yalu V'Salam V'Cholay Asher Shat V'Yav V'Ovid V'Cholay Amela V'Roshem V'Cholay Novet V'Cholay Yoy V'Cholay Asher V'Cholay